Are you ready? You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down!
Woo! What is up?
Degenerate into something cool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. Back a brace, boy. Yeah.
Woo!
Back a brace, little man.
All right.
Break it down.
Ooh.
That's one way to start it.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you can see, it is Dave and Jason versus professional wrestling.
Professional
As you can
wrestling.
tell, I've got the old DX shirt on.
Sports entertainment,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it.
And we're here with Dave Smith, the Intercontinental Champion, apparently. So,
I bought this at the place where I work.
no, you won it, man.
I won
There
this
you go,
at the place where I work.
man. The Toys R Us match.
The Toys R Us match.
The Toys R Us death match.
Well, no, honestly, a little bit of personal stuff. I got a promotion there.
Ooh.
They gave me a smidgen of a raise.
Awesome sauce.
So this is my reward for that. Seriously, like I say, that this is my reward for doing so good at my job. And what else would you get at a toy store?
I get Power Ranger stuff, but
Yeah, I guess you could, but as a
Still.
reward for doing something well,
it would be a reward for me. My belt's good. I like belts. Belts are good. Belts are good. Now they got the Universal Champion now.
there's a Universal Champion. It's Kevin Owens at the moment. See, this is what I'm excited about today's
Let's
episode.
break that down.
This is almost going to be a time capsule / love letter to professional wrestling.
Oh, touche.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Trying to see. So at the moment, so everything we talk about might not be the same tomorrow, because in the way the professional wrestling world is, anything that's current
Yes.
could change in an instant.
Absolutely.
People become champions for literally to hold the place until they can get the right person that they want to be the champion.
Yeah.
Because good guys can't fight good guys and bad guys can't fight bad guys, and that's just the thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So if they want a good guy to have it, but a good guy already has it, they got to make the bad guy lose it or win it from the good guy, and then the good guy's going to win it from the bad guy. Different good guys and bad guys, of course.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But that's how it is.
Yeah.
So I feel like today, our episode, because we're also going to talk about a lot of old stuff. My favorite matches and old matches, favorite matches and old match. I've got a couple of favorite matches that are, newer matches, but for the most part, this is going to be a time capsule.
Yes.
Everything we talk about that is current in the WWE, in the WWF. That was my Stone Cold. We're going to do impressions
Beautiful.
all night.
I was like, where did Dave go?
Right. I was here the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Of course,
How good he is.
he's wearing his sleeveless Degeneration
And
X shirt.
there's a story behind this shirt.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that later. Yeah.
I have my RKO.
Out of nowhere.
Hashtag out of nowhere.
Yep.
I'll make the full circle.
True story. True story.
So, let's hear, world premiere, the story behind your sleeveless Degeneration X shirt. It's very soft. It's been worn. Mine's brand new.
Spanking new.
And I'll tell you my story as soon as...
Circa like 1995, maybe? That's what I'm thinking. It still fits.
So gas was like 85 cents a gallon.
Yeah, totally. So
dinosaurs still roam the earth.
yes, totally.
And people thought that Jinko was still cool. So just to set the stage... just to set the stage for the shirt story...
All right.
Go.
Okay. I can tell the short version, but I'm going to tell the long version.
We got time.
We got time. So, I ended up doing what WWE probably... Or they always say, don't try this at home. I did not listen to that, as my brother didn't either, and some of our friends. Many people considered we would have fun. We would write out matches. We would act them out before our friends would come over, and we would do matches.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm lucky to be alive because some of the crap that we did was crazy. Not as crazy as some of the stuff that you see on those old backyard wrestling. That's why I got mad when we were called backyard wrestling, because we weren't throwing each other on tacks and we weren't setting each other on fire. We weren't doing crap like that.
Because for a while,
Uh-huh.
in that time, the late
Uh-huh.
90s, early
Mhm.
2000s, backyard wrestling on DVD and VHS.
Yeah.
Volume 4!
Yeah,
Volume 4! Get yours
People
today!
jumping off of houses.
Yes.
We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Now I'm not justifying what we did by any means,
Right.
because you have to be careful. Like I said, I'm lucky to be I didn't get anything broken when we did things like
Right,
that.
right.
But I tell you that to tell you this, because wrestling got me through professional wrestling got me through a really, really, my teenage. I had that little dark phase. Everybody has that little phase in their teenage
Your
years. Grunge
phase.
The girls didn't like me, yada, 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 whatever.
Well, that's not, for me, that was my middle school, high school, early to mid 20s. So, to each his own.
Well, I got lucky because I met my wife in high school. So
Yeah.
I was lucky in that. But, anyway, back to the story. I was into watching WWE and WCW. Let's not forget WCW.
Or ECW, or NWA.
Or ECW. Oh,
Or
ECW, yeah.
OVW, or FCW, or
www.
www.wwe.www. No.
Yeah, totally.
Go on. And then with TNA's another one.
Yeah, TNA, yeah, that's right.
Anyway.
Well, whenever we started doing matches, we would wear shirts and stuff, and this was my shirt that I wore to almost every match. I got it at Walmart, and the only reason you know that is because Walmart, they always censor things.
Yeah.
Because on the back of my shirt, it doesn't say "suck it."
It does not say
Suck
suck it.
So, I could wear it to PE, wherever we did
School,
stuff. Because
work,
it started off
church.
in PE class when we were younger, we would have wrestling. And it was supposed to start out as a Greco-Roman high school wrestling, but then it turned into this mix of that and professional wrestling.
Right.
And it was like us middle school guys versus some high schoolers, because coach was wanting everybody to get all tough and whatever. And so they'd let us go wrestle for a while. Well, I remember one time we were doing it ended up being a Royal Rumble the coach said this.
Yeah.
He said, Royal Rumble off the stage. Royal Rumble is when you have to get thrown out of the ring to be out.
Right, over the ropes. Both feet on the ground.
Here's the thing about this. There were a lot of us, and the coaches were always mad at me because I wouldn't play football.
Right, okay.
I was a big dude. I liked football, but I didn't want to play basketball as my sport. And I came down to me, and I was taking on football players.
Right.
The beauty of this story, because everybody has those moments when they're teenagers that always make a big impact on you. You always remember, yeah, I did that. It was awesome.
Like Luke destroying the Death Star.
Exactly, totally, yeah. This is my Luke destroying the Death Star moment. I had thrown some people off the stage, and I turned around because I knew somebody else was there, and I remember his name, Tyson Collins. Still,
that sounds like a really cool wrestler name.
well, that's actually his name.
Right.
To give you an idea of what they actually nicknamed him, I remember him being nicknamed Goldberg.
Goldberg.
Because
Goldberg.
and I've seen pictures of Tyson on Facebook, and he's still a pretty buff guy. But in high school, he had the big muscly neck,
The traps.
Yeah, and I turned around, and all I remember is he was already running at me,
Oh.
and he hit me, and I happened to time it just right, and I put my hands on his shoulders, and so when he hit me with so much force, I literally flipped.
Oh my gosh.
But I happened to land just right. I was more like, holy crap, what just happened? I was trying to figure out what had happened because I just did a flip. And he got up, and I distinctly remember all the girls and the coaches going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he ripped his shirt. I went, oh, dear Lord, I've got to end that.
Oh no, here we go. Here we go.
And so I played possum, and he came up to throw me out. I ended up hitting him, turning around, kicked him in the stomach as hard as I could, and I DDT'd him really hard. But I had a special DDT, because they called me Bruiser. It was my nickname in
His
high
name
school.
was the Bruiser.
I had a thing, I ended up calling him the Bruiser Brainbuster.
That
very,
sounds
very
dangerous.
Yeah, it was. I would hook them like a DDT,
Yeah.
then I would hook their leg like a Russian leg sweep, and then I would kick back and just drill them. I had drilled them right into the mat, and then I rolled them off the stage, and I won. And I remember the coaches and everybody, and the girls were like, Brazier won.
Brazier won again.
And that was one of those moments, that I remember. But I always wore the shirt. And I remember even whenever my wife and I, we were first dating, we were at a church, and my church even did, I don't know how we convinced this to happen because it wouldn't happen today, but we did, we would have youth group things, and then we would do wrestling matches there as a thing.
At church. I said
at
you
the
wear it
church.
at church.
Yeah, and we called it the Christian Wrestling Alliance of all things, CWA.
The Christian Wrestling Alliance.
I say all that to say this though. That's where I always loved making films. I made films when I was younger, too, before I even started doing the whole wrestling thing. But I started directing the matches, and I started realizing how much I loved directing and doing that part creatively, and doing the story. So if it wasn't for professional wrestling, I wouldn't be out making
all this stuff.
And I remember watching Raw every Monday night with my dad. My big thing was to come home on Monday nights, get a plate of 10 buffalo. We get this little bag of buffalo wings from Walmart, heat them up, do about 10 or 11 of them, get a big glass of Dr. Pepper, and my dad and I would sit down and we'd watch Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, very nice.
Because it was the Attitude Era. That was like one of the best eras in wrestling ever.
Right.
And,
definitely.
And I remember my wife, whenever I got WWE Network, she's like, hey, can we watch that era you always talk about? And I'm like, yes, we can. And so, long story short, that was that. And then I did some other matches with some friends. We ended up making like a little wrestling arena at one point, and the guy I was wrestling, we worked out the entire match, and a girl showed up that he liked, and he decided to forego everything we had been working on for the past week. And when the bell rang, I remember my brother was the ref, so he remembers the match, and he can confirm this because he was there. He punched me in the face, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
What?
Boom! He punched me again. I'm like, you need to stop. Boom! And he did, and I said, "Okay." And then we literally fought.
It was a real fight.
Yeah, I was trying to make him stop, but he kept on trying to show off. And I know if he's watching this, he's gonna message me. But I ended up at the end of it putting him through a solid oak coffee table. That was the worst thing I ever did. He threw me on it off of our ring that we had made, and it didn't bust, but I landed and knocked the breath out of me. And I saw him go, and out of the corner of my eye, he got down to the Goldberg stance, like he's going to spear you.
Getting ready for it.
So I knew he was going to spear me, and I was just ready to be done. And I had the last second thought to turn and lift my leg as he was running, and his shoulders caught my legs, and I grabbed his belt on his pants, and I just jumped, and I just pile drove him through it, and the thing exploded.
Oh, my God.
And my brother remembers. I know people are like, oh, Jade Brazier's just telling a tall tale. My brother can confirm this because he was the ref. He was there. And the guy who I was fighting with, Tim Stibbs, we were wrestling together. We wrestled a lot together. He can confirm that too, because I remember rolling over because I knew it hurt me, so I knew it hurt him. And I'm like, are you okay? Do you have a concussion or anything? He's like, no. He goes, that did hurt, but I'm done. And so we ended that. But yeah, that was my journey through wrestling and getting through my teenage angst years and things like that. But the Attitude Era definitely holds a special place because my dad and I would always watch it on Monday nights, my brother and everything. So
I was there.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Your turn.
I just got this weekend at the WWE live event here in Springfield, Missouri. That's where the live event was. The subterranean location is 3 miles below Springfield, so not technically Springfield International Waters where we are right now. But yeah, it was great. Everybody was there except for John Cena and Dolph Ziggler, but I guess
you couldn't see him.
I couldn't see him. I guess Dolph Ziggler was being inducted into the Kent State Hall of Fame.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's what was going on.
That's cool.
Cool.
That's a good excuse.
Congratulations. No love lost there. Good for you. And John Cena wasn't there because I think John Cena is just too good for Springfield. It wouldn't surprise me. His girlfriend was there, Nikki Bella. She was there.
Yeah, I forgot they were dating.
They are, at least to my latest knowledge.
Yeah, he could have been backstage and just not.
He could have been there the whole time. And it was funny because everybody came out. everybody, AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose. AJ Styles is the champ at the moment. It was a SmackDown show. We'll talk about Raw and that Universal Championship belt here in a minute. It was all the SmackDown guys, because at the moment, in 2016, Raw and SmackDown are two different brands. They've got different rosters.
But they did that before, though.
They have done that before.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
They've done that before. It was a while back,
Yeah.
but they absolutely did it before.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they've done it again. And SmackDown has AJ Styles as the champ.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Ambrose was the champ. They're going at it. So that was the main event of the live show on proper SmackDown. The television show, John Cena, Dean Ambrose, and AJ Styles are all fighting. There's going to be a three-way at No Mercy, which is the pay-per-view for SmackDown this month. So it was a great show. Bunch of great. Rhino and Heath Slater are the tag team champions at the moment.
Is Rhino back?
Rhino's back. Rhino's not only is Rhino back, Rhino is tag team champ for SmackDown.
But he won. He's a senator now.
Yes. Well, he won. I'm pretty sure at this moment, because it's only September, almost October. He won the primary.
He won the primary.
Wherever it is that he's
okay.
trying to become.
Yeah, I heard that he was going to get into politics.
In November, he will be on the main ballot for his state, which I'm not sure what it is. I'm sorry, Rhino, but I know I'm not in it, so I can't vote for you. If I could, I would.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rhino and Heath Slater are tag team champs
Okay.
for SmackDown, which is great. They were there. The Usos, they turned heel. They were there. I bought this wonderful RKO Randy Orton shirt. He was there. It was awesome. He does all the good stuff. There we go. He did everything. A ton of RKOs. They were blocked. A bunch of them were blocked. He fought Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
A bunch of them were blocked. It was intermission after their fight, so it's like I had to buy this shirt. I also bought a bracelet for Connor's Cure. That's the big childhood cancer research thing they're doing right now. So I did good.
You did good. Very good.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Every $5 counts, I guess.
Yeah.
It wasn't much, but anyway. So it was great. Everybody was there. I had a great time with it. I loved it. Bought this shirt. So this shirt is brand new. This is not an old shirt, but that was a very, very good time. Speaking of that, I'm going to transition now.
Transitioning
into the game, WWE 2K16.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about Randy Orton. I've got a bit of a bone to pick.
Ooh.
With the WWE 2K16 people.
Ooh.
So now,
let's pick away.
Right. So now me and you, we're gonna play tonight. As soon as we're done here, we're gonna live stream over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/DaveandJasonVersus. We're gonna live stream these two guys, the Kings of the Queen City.
That is our tag team.
That's our tag team name. We'll probably play a match as each other,
and
then we should play a match as other people.
Yeah, totally. I'm cool with that.
I will definitely play as myself once you'll play as myself. But then, for the match that is not us, I will be picking Randy Orton.
Okay.
Because he's my new favorite wrestler. Because I bought the shirt. His match was great. His bus was parked out front of the arena.
Oh, yeah?
His bus was there all day. Right. Me and my buddy, who I went to the show with, we went out late afterward. We walked, because I live fairly close to where the place was, so we walked there. We walked home after that, hung out for a bit, went to go get some food, and we went to the Domino's there on campus. As we were there at the Domino's, and this is like 12 o'clock now in the morning, it's late, we got done, we got back, we wanted to go out to some eat. We drive by Randy Orton's bus, and we see him getting on the bus. It was awesome. And then we went to Domino's. When we got to Domino's, we saw his bus. I'm going to sneeze.
Hold.
Ooh,
That was a big one.
I blame Tank.
Tank.
Our four-legged correspondent. So we saw his bus driving away. It was awesome.
That's cool.
So I will be Randy Orton. Now the bone I have to pick. Back to the bone I have to pick with the WWE.
Pick away.
I have a PlayStation 3. I'm a poor boy. I have a PlayStation 3. Please, sir, can I have a 4? That works. So
I get the reference. I don't know if anybody else will.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. It was still too on the nose. So I've been playing a lot.
Mhm.
You know, we're gonna play,
Yes.
and I was playing a little bit today just to get practiced up, and I've been playing, you know, because I have the game. PlayStation 3. You've got a PlayStation 4,
I do.
so you've got the PlayStation 4 version.
I do.
I'm hoping
He's hoping.
that the Randy Orton intro, being on a PlayStation 4, is better than the Randy Orton entrance version on PlayStation 3.
Just like on PS3.
On PS3, he comes out, and you know how he does that great thing, you know, that he's
Yeah.
asking him. In the game, he comes out and he's like, just like it's so lame,
Lame.
lame. The Dave and Jason versus stamp of lame approval.
Ooh,
It was-
I need to get a stamp for that. Like,
It was all. It's very. I don't know. What I'm hoping is that the PS4 version of the WWE 2K16 has better graphics. You know they always do. You know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just better.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that his whole
looks more
Thing that he does.
looks more glorious.
looks more glorious.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna transition again.
Okay, because I'm done talking about 2K16.
We can transition into our favorite matches.
Favorite matches.
Yes. And I'll let you lead. This is the first one is yours.
Is this mine?
Yeah. So, you want to talk about it first before I cut to it?
Well, yeah, that's fine. So, one of the first matches I ever saw, and definitely my favorite match, one of my favorite matches. My other one, I watched it recently again, loved it. It is, I'm almost positive, no, it is SummerSlam 88.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior,
Ooh.
Honky Tonk Man, Intercontinental Championship match, and it was supposed to be. If I'm not wrong, if I'm mistaken, email us at davidjasonversus@gmail.com. davidjasonversus@gmail.com. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be Brutus the Barber Beefcake
Okay.
and Honky Tonk Man. At the time, Honky Tonk Man was the Intercontinental Champion.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the Intercontinental Champion.
Yes.
The title, that's why I've got the belt. That's why I like this match. Brutus Barber Beefcake was supposed to be his opponent for the Intercontinental Championship, SummerSlam 88. Something big happened the night or the day before on Sunday Night Wrestling or Saturday Night Wrestling.
They had
the Saturday Night main event. I'm pretty sure it was.
Was it that? Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so Brutus Barber couldn't come out. Brutus Barber Beefcake was out. Honky Tonk Man comes into the ring. He's like, "Send me anybody. I don't care. I don't care who you're going to send me to fight. Send me anybody. I don't care."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Ultimate Warrior comes running down, jumps in the ring. Honky Tonk Man, who at the time is the Intercontinental Champion, he's probably he does go down in history, Honky Tonk Man, as the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. It's like a 30-second match. It's seriously like a minute. Ultimate Warrior comes in, knocks him around a little bit.
Yeah.
Honky Tonk Man doesn't even have time to take his tights off. Like he's got that whole big. You saw
Elvis
it just now.
looking thing.
That whole Elvis thing. He takes that off, and he's got his white pants on, white boots, and that's it. He doesn't even have time to take that stuff off, and Warrior pins him. Wins Intercontinental Championship. And then afterward, Honky Tonk Man's all like, "I said send anybody, I didn't say send a Warrior." I mean, just trying to cover it up because that's what they do, the whole thing. But just watching that is most amazing.
Interesting fact. I don't think a lot of people know who are wrestling fans. Honky Tonk Man is actually related to Jerry the King Lawler.
I did not know that.
Yes, I think they're cousins or brothers. I can't remember.
Hopefully cousins.
I think cousins. But anyway.
He still wrestles, Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
In like the Indies.
Oh, I don't doubt it, yeah.
He's old. He's old.
What's your second match?
I think, and it's a good match. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite matches. But I think it's also like everybody's favorite match. Like it's always at the number one of like top 10 best matches. That kind of thing. It's WrestleMania 24, the retirement match for Ric Flair against HBK. A total of not one, not two, but three Sweet Chin Musics to the Nature Boy. First one in the middle of the match, like a normal one. The second one, he's down. as he's getting up, Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, you know him, you love him. He thinks he's cute. He knows he's sexy. Exactly. He's standing in the corner, and he's measuring them. They say he's measuring them. He's just sitting there. He's like, come on, get up, get up, get up, get up. Because everybody knows that when this match is over, so is Ric Flair. Ric Flair's out. He's retired. Or, or if he doesn't, if he loses, if Shawn Michaels loses, then Ric Flair doesn't retire, but we all know that he's going to retire.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels in the corner. Yep. Ric Flair is wobblingly.
I like it.
Wobblingly getting up from the second Sweet Chin music. And HBK's in the corner, and you can't hear it, but you can see it. It's as clear as day. Yep. He says, "I'm sorry, I love you." And he gives him a third Sweet Chin music.
And it ends the match.
And that's it.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Ric Flair.
1, 2,
3. Ric Flair chose him to be the one to do.
Really?
To end his
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because, newsflash, I mean, obviously wrestling is
awesome,
but it's written, and that's why they allow them to become actors, because they're part actors. Yeah,
exactly.
But Ric Flair wanted Shawn Michaels to be the one to end his career.
Right.
Which is an honor, because he grew up watching Ric Flair, so it was kind of he was emotional, and rightfully so.
They cried right in the middle of the ring.
But Ric Flair's still involved in the wrestling because he's kind of managing his daughter.
Yeah.
And things like now and there.
He's kind of taking a step back right now. At this point, Charlotte kind of kicked him out of the ring once, and he went home crying, and he hasn't come back. But yeah, WrestleMania 24, Ric Flair, HBK. That was not only is that like one of my favorite matches of all time, but it was probably the best match of that night, because the headliner was Edge and Undertaker, and if anybody knows anything about WrestleManias, we know who's going to win that one. And then the Big Show versus, get this, now hold on, kids, Floyd Money Mayweather. And if you know anything about Floyd Money Mayweather, he's short. And if you know anything about Big Show, he ain't short. And so it was just one of those things, it's like...
But do you know the commitment they had for that? When they were doing that whole thing on Raw where Big Show came out and Mayweather punched him, he actually let him break his nose.
Really?
So that shot where he gets his nose, that's an actual, he let him hit him to do that just to sell the whole thing. That's what I read.
Because the thing is, like, at a certain point, it's like there's no way that Floyd Money Mayweather is going to beat the Big Show.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's hard for me to choose favorite matches too.
So yeah,
it's never easy. One of them that stands out to me, that I always remember just because of one thing. I have always liked Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon, I don't hate the guy. I love him. I think he's great.
He is amazing.
Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of stuff that he's done. But the thing that I always remember, because I remember watching the pay-per-view going, oh my gosh, how did he survive that? I mean, I know that they had it where, he would be safe somehow, but I just was like, that was a big stunt. And it was it was one of the SummerSlams. I don't remember what year. But he climbed to the top of the, let me see here. He climbed to the top of the rafter, like above the Titantron area.
The Titan.
And I don't know if you can see it in this picture. He leaped off of that. I want to say it was at least 50 some odd feet or more in the air. I mean, it was a long way up. And he dropped an elbow on the Big Show. And I mean, you can hear the explosion. You can look it up on YouTube and see the video.
Right.
And I mean, he hit, and obviously there's padding underneath it, but still, that's some thick board.
That's
gonna hurt.
They say we just said, it's somewhat written, it's scripted. There's some scripted parts. That's why you can't bet on these matches at OTB, off track betting. You can gamble on the presidential election, horses, dogs, UFC, any sport, baseball, football, basketball.
Well, baseball, you're not really supposed to be. Yeah, anyway. Go ahead. Anyway.
You cannot.
For wrestling.
Well, and, so I mean, I'm just saying but at the end of the day, there are still things that these people do that are incredibly dangerous
Yeah, they have to
that
be in shape.
hurt like crazy.
They have to be in shape. And I can actually
It's ridiculous.
attest to this because my senior year of high school, my friend Ben Kane was a trained professional wrestling referee, and they needed a announcer. They didn't have one. And he asked me if I wanted to try out for it, and I said, "Well, yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be something I can always talk about." And it was in Houston, Missouri, I believe, that the event happened.
Wow, that's
And
in the middle of it.
yeah, I know, right? And they actually have a commissioner in Missouri that oversees all that stuff.
Really?
I met him, and the funniest guy I remember meeting was Wildman Johnny Walker, which is, they nicknamed him Mini Macho. He is actually Macho Man Randy Savage's cousin, and he looks like a miniature version of him.
Does he really?
Oh man, it was
Oh,
hilarious.
wow.
It was hilarious. Well, I was there, and I got to see the ring.
Is his name Johnny Walker?
I mean, I don't know if it's his real name or not, but that was just his name there. But it might be. don't
I
know.
knew a guy named Johnny. I know him.
Yeah.
He's an older guy now.
But I got to see the ring put together.
Oh, wow.
Got to see that whole process from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see how much that ring gives.
Yes.
Doesn't give very much.
Doesn't give much.
Doesn't give much. You have to, and I was watching them do their run throughs, and you have to land right because you're going to get hurt if you don't do it right.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
whole thing. There's a whole way
I
to
mean,
land.
there's a science to it, and I remember when the match was getting ready to start, I was announcing, and the commissioner walked up to me and said, "Hey, we have 2 wrestlers that didn't show up. Go up to the ring, tell people they're not here, and make up something why they're not here." I'm like, "Make up something? Like what?" And he said, "Oh, their car broke down, or something like that." I said, "You want me to walk to the ring? Not just announce it from here?" He goes, "No, I want you to walk in the ring. I want to see what you can do." I was like, "Okay." It was the funnest thing ever because as soon as I started walking down the aisle,
Yeah.
people started booing me.
Oh.
Oh, it was I went totally into The Rock. When people were trying to touch me, I'd be like, you know, like get in the way. And I got to walk. I got to step through the ring ropes and everything.
Right.
And I got into the ring, and I was like, "This is so cool." I just went with it,
Mhm.
and I told people why they weren't here, and then I started getting booed even more, and it was so funny. And then I did the whole classic thing. "Are you ready?"
Yeah.
And people started screaming, "I can't hear you. Are you ready?" And then I went to each side of the ring, and I hung over the ropes, yelling at every side of the ring to get them pumped up. And I wish I could find a video of it. I know there's one that exists. 'Cause I saw so many video cameras there. But the main event was Showtime Shane Summers versus who did he verse? He versed one of the Rhodes. Trevor Rhodes? It was one of Dusty's kids.
One of Dusty's kids? Okay.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes' kid. And I was there and I was announcing the match. Of all things, it was hilarious. They wanted me to announce it with a janitor.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I was getting into it. "Oh, DJ." I mean, I was having a blast going along with it. And I was trying to talk with him so I could have, bounce back and forth. And he
Right,
couldn't
right.
hear me. And he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Never mind." But I wish that I could find that video because I would love to see me walking to the ring and doing that. Because I remembered a certain way. It's been so long, it may look completely stupid. But I remember that. And I remember one time, too, a guy walked out, and they had written on his thing where he was from. It said Skunk Bluff, Missouri. So that's what I said. Well, he started yelling at me. It was Skunk Bluff, Mississippi. This is my first...
Mississippi.
But it said Missouri on the script. And so I was backstage, and I talked to him, and I didn't know. This is when I started learning all this stuff. And
Yeah.
he was in, and he was like, "Oh, I was just playing it, or whatever."
Was he doing
What?
the thing?
Yeah. So anyway, yes, it is fake to a point with the stories and stuff and who wins, but the stuff that they put themselves through, that's where the entertainment aspect comes through. Why they call it sports entertainment, because you have to be in shape. You have to do certain things. I mean, because they're there to entertain you. They do some death-defying things. I mean, when you see a 450 splash live, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they have to be prepared for that. I mean, I remember watching SmackDown one night. Eddie Guerrero did his frog splash, and he landed slightly different than he usually did, and you saw the bone in his arm dislocate.
Oh.
And they turned him over and pinned him immediately to end the match to get him out of there.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. And then there was that one time where Sid Vicious was on WCW and he tried to do his big boot off of the the top rope,
Mhm.
and you see it, and his leg hit the mat, and his ankle snapped and turned sideways.
Oh.
There's a science to certain things to
There are.
land right,
There
and
are.
so I respect professional wrestlers. And like I said, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today and be interested in directing and writing and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, we can even talk more about. I mean, there's so many good matches. I mean, the classic one that everybody talks about too, I think, is Mick Foley versus Undertaker when he chokeslammed him through the
Yep.
Hell in a
Yep.
Cell.
He lost his
And teeth, and it was up in his
Up in his
nose,
nose.
and he was sticking his tongue out through it. I remember watching an interview with Undertaker. He was talking about that, and Mick said, "Chokeslam me," and he's like, "No, I'm not gonna choke." Or no, it was throw me off the top. And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." He goes, "Throw me off the top now." Like Mick said, "Do
Yeah.
it," and Undertaker's like, "Okay, fine." And he did it because Mick wanted him to, because he knew that it would get the crowd like, "Oh my gosh!" And Mick Foley, he's a legend for it, you know. He just put his body through so much, especially when he was over in Japan wrestling doing those Taipei death matches.
Oh yeah.
And lost his ear.
Lost
and
his ear.
Yeah.
Guy's got an ear missing. That's why he keeps his hair long.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I will say this though. I feel like wrestling today is not what it is. Because back when you had the competition between WCW,
Mm-hmm.
the Monday Night Wars,
Monday Night Wars.
and WWE.
The Attitude Era.
Yeah, they were always trying to up each other because they were always backstage watching each show.
Yeah.
And so
had
they
two
would-
monitors
they
going
would always-
constantly.
Be trying to say, well, what can we do to top this and get more viewers back over? You know, they were always in competition with each other. Now there's no competition, and I see Triple H and all of them, and they're all dressed very corporate and all
Right.
that, which is fine. But it's weird seeing Road Dogg Jesse James in suit and tie, but because he's backstage working with him now. I understand that, and they built the foundation for where the company is today with the wrestlers. And I know they're going for a more, you know, younger audience now. Triple H calls this the reality era.
The Reality Era.
That's what he calls it.
Okay.
You know, because everybody knows, and they're just going along with it and having fun, and they're aiming for the kids more. But man, I honestly just miss not knowing what to expect. That's why I'd watch it. I was like,
Right.
what the heck are they going to do tonight?
Right.
You know? And WCW would do stuff too that was just kind of out of left field. But WWE always would. Vince and them just weren't afraid to push the envelope. You know, and you had D-Generation X doing all of that. You know, there was that one episode where they went across to the Norfolk Scope or whatever. I can't pronounce the name. Because WCW was across the road.
Yeah, they went with the tank. They had the tank.
It was a giant, army truck.
Army
and,
truck with
and
a
Triple
big
H was
gun
sitting
on it.
He was sitting on the gun,
Yeah,
you know.
with a
Yeah.
megaphone, and it's like it's brilliant.
It was fun.
It was awesome.
But nowadays you don't have that. I remember when they did the corporate ministry and the Ministry of Darkness. They did that little horror angle. It was brilliant, you know, and they just don't. I know that they don't feel there's a need for them to push the envelope now because they've got such a big audience. But every now and then, and plus too, there's a lot of wrestlers who got injured.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could go into Chris Benoit and all that, but that's a whole other story for another time.
Yeah,
for injuries and things like that, but you know, I will say that, you know, I like watching the wrestling whenever the older wrestlers come back, and the younger wrestlers are really great, but I just feel like it's missing that competition of, like, you know, Billy Gunn and them would watch an interview with them, they would like walk backstage and say, okay, top that. You know, they were challenging each other. They would always and they don't do it anymore. Like, and I understand that they don't feel like they need to, because I mean, I don't think they don't feel threatened by TNA wrestling or anything like that by any means, and TNA is a good brand.
They're talking about WWE wanting to buy TNA. They're talking about them wanting to buy TNA and have it be like a you know, AA, AAA majors kind of thing. NXT would be the low rung, and then you would go up to TNA. And then if you got the big call to WWE, Raw, SmackDown.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but man, you know, they keep buying out the competition, and I know that right now it's hard for them. You know, I think the last good run of people that really gave them a run for their money was ECW.
Mm-hmm.
WCW had their moments. Don't get me wrong; they did some amazing things, especially when they brought in the NWO and all those guys. you know. But I like the Wolfpack. Yeah. But and I need to find that red shirt. I always wanted that red shirt with the wolf on it.
Yeah.
I never could find it when I was younger. I want that. I gotta find it. Yeah.
Christmas is coming.
Christmas. Look on eBay or something. But the anyway, where was I going with that? But ECW. I mean, Paul Heyman is a mad genius.
Oh, he's great.
You know, the matches that they would put on. If you look them up on YouTube, sometimes you ever heard of New Jack? The man is insane. I mean, I think a couple times he got arrested because I think he actually tried to kill somebody in a match.
Wow.
I watched one match where he actually took an industrial staple gun and stapled a guy in the head. I kid you not.
ECW was extreme.
Yeah, ain't no lie. You know, I remember watching when they had that whole run on TNN for a while before it became Spike, and Tommy Dreamer, who I love, Tommy Dreamer's awesome. He got dropped toe hold by Raven or something like that. I can't remember what it was, and he hit his chin on the edge of the table. And it didn't look fake because when his chin hit that table, you saw his head and you heard the crack and everything, and he was just bleeding profusely. And I remember watching, going, "What is going on?" You know, those chant. I mean, man, they did some crazy things in that, and they signed a lot of people from ECW to go into. It was kind of like it was almost like a minor league. We almost go into WWE because they got. So they had a lot of personas that
then they just bought it.
Blossomed there. Stone Cold was in that. Whenever he was, I mean, he was still Steve Austin, I think.
Stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah, when he had blonde hair, it's so funny seeing him with blonde hair, long blonde hair.
It is.
Anyway, so I'm sorry, I'll quit. Yeah,
no, you're fine.
Your turn. You talk.
Well, so I was just gonna say, we've been going for 45-ish minutes. We're not gonna do a taste test today per se.
True story.
What we're going to do is we're going to play WWE 2K16, which I want to get to.
Indeed.
We'll do that over on Facebook Live,
Mm-hmm.
here in like 2 seconds. Well, maybe not 2 seconds, but when we're done with this.
Give us about 10 minutes to get set up.
Yes. And then we will. But for the most part...
Well, let's end it on this, though.
Yes, let's do it.
Favorite entrance theme?
Song?
Yeah, song. Yeah, theme. Yeah, theme music.
I got it right here. He's a new guy in the WWE universe. He's been around forever, though. Let me pull it up here. Where's the microphone on this thing?
On here?
Yeah, so I can play this.
Let's see. Just play right now because the microphone will be right here. You'll hear it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so just go ahead and play it.
Let me turn it up all the way. Cancel.
Whose is that?
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode.
He's been at TNA for like 15 years.
Yeah,
he's going to be the champ.
It reminds me of Christian's theme music, where it was like, Christian! He's in a moment. I'll let him be.
I don't know how it turned off, but good.
You remember Christian's theme music in the early 2000s when he was?
Not really.
It would go Christian, like it had like that operatic thing. It was a stupid song. I'm sorry, but okay. But we need to go out. I like the Undertaker's theme where it was real rockin'. Let me see here if I can find it. Or should we end on? I want to end on something funny almost. Classic. Let's look at. Let's see. Of course, there's DX. I love DX's music. Triple H's music is really good too. The Rock's always great when he comes back. You know what? I'm gonna end. I say we end on this. I can find it. Because this guy is a legend in his own right, and there's just something about his music that when it comes on, it just kind of gets you pumped up.
Let's hear it.
So. Oh, nope.
No.
Nope, my bad. Here it is.
Here we go.
Yeah. Bret Hart.
When the dude come out, y'all like, yeah!
Now wait for it. Wait for it, I say we end it there. This.
That's perfect.
That's good.
I don't see why
Next
not.
time, we'll see you guys next time. I don't know which one we're doing yet,
Me
but
neither.
we'll announce it on Facebook what we're going to verse. Until next time, this is Jason, and that is...
Dave.
And we'll catch you... Well, I was going to say verse... Oh, it's terrible. Let's try it again. This is Jason. That's...
Dave.
And we'll see you next time.